In this video, I want to give you a first look at the Smart Object feature in Photoshop. I think it's the best thing that Photoshop has ever done since the original introduction of layers. Smart objects are what I call a jack-in-the-box technique. You can tell that you have a smart object because of this little icon on your layers panel. If I click off on the eye, you can see that this is the object. If I double click this tangerine smart object thumbnail, here's my original image. This is what all the layers were like in my image. And I can go back and see from starting with the original flower that I did to making a bit of a repeat pattern out of it there, adding a filter, adding another filter, finally adding a bit of a blur and a layer mask so that what I have is just the circle. When I click that and say yes, it's back here. Anytime I want to get to it, all I need to do is double click again. These items are also working the same way. What I'm going to do now is to create a very simple toss pattern from these three rosettes and then show you how you can see what they will look like in offset while still keeping the layer structure and not flattening your image. So let me just throw some of these pieces elsewhere. I'm just, as you can see, duplicating them. Somewhat randomly and not particularly artistically. But let's see what happens here. When I have the Move tool selected, if I press the Control or the Command key at the same time that I click on an object, you can see that it's automatically going on my layers panel to that particular layer so that I can move it around. I don't particularly like this arrangement. I think we need probably a couple more flowers, but I don't have them. So let's say that you liked the way this looked and wanted to see what it would look like in repeat. Time to make another smart object. Let's leave off the background because we don't want it as part of the pattern. So to make the smart object, I'm going to click at the top on my first layer, hold the Shift key, and click on the last layer. Go up to Layer, come down to Smart Objects, Convert to Smart Object. Now it looks like, oh my goodness, I only have one layer. Again, remember the jack-in-the-box. When you click it, it pops out and there are all your layers. So we have this layer and this is what we're going to offset. This particular tile is 3 inches by 3 inches or 900 by 900 pixels at 300 ppi. I can add a filter, actually any number of filters that I want at the same time to this particular smart object. I'm going to come up to Filter, Other, Offset. And I'm going to tell the filter that I want to offset by 450 pixels. Let me get my keyboard here, which is hidden by my microphone, unfortunately. 450 pixels to the right and 450 pixels down. That is what the image would look like in wraparound mode in offset. So I could do that, and if I change my mind for some reason, I double click the offset and I can change that. As long as I keep this as a smart object, I can do whatever I want to it still. At this point, I could then define my pattern. Edit, define pattern, And let's just call this Rosette. Rosette. Okay. Now let's see what it looks like in repeat. File, new, and I'm going to take something, let's say that's 10 inches by 10 inches, just to create a new file that's big enough to see this thing in repeat. And it's not going to be pretty, I can warn you that now. So I'm going to take my new image, add a pattern fill, and it shows me the new repeat. I wish this were live, but it's not. Anytime I want to change, I would need to go back and create a new pattern fill layer. I don't think that is a particularly wonderful repeat. However, in the next segment, we can take a look at how you can watch it change as you're working, not in this view, but in your original view of this file. So till then.